You may say, what is that? You may say, which one do I use? You may say, what's the importance? Why do people use this one, not that one, or vice versa? Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Here's a place that we advocate for disability inclusion and spread awareness to make the world just a little bit brighter. My name is Jonelle, and today I am wearing a dark green floral top. I've got some pink flowers, blue flowers. It's kind of floral, but it's kind of abstract at the same time. And I'm here sitting in my room. Today I want to talk about the difference between identity first language and person first language. You may say, what is that? You may say, which one do I use? You may say, what's the importance? Why do people use this one, not that one, or vice versa? So today I want to talk about that and get into that with you. So whether you use identity first language or person first language, it is the way in which you refer to somebody. So for example, identity first language would be this person is autistic, and person first language would be this person has autism, and it's just the way that you refer to the person. So with identity first language, it's the person wanting to put their identity first. They see it as an integral or core part of who they are, not really something that's separate or something they have compared to if you used person-centered or person-first language. So, for example, a lot of people who are autistic prefer to use the term autistic because they don't really feel like they can separate autism with their identity. It's just part of who they are. It's connected. I know some people prefer that term, or they prefer to say I'm disabled versus I have a disability. Some of the reasons people prefer to use identity first language is that it helps kind of stop stigma around disability. Even that word in of itself sometimes is seen as a bad word. People prefer to say other things that they think are politically correct that are actually more offensive. So trying to reduce that stigma, trying to show that they're not ashamed of it, that they're proud of it, it's part of who they are, it's part of their identity, there's nothing wrong with that. And also to kind of help empower them and empower others that also are disabled or also are dealing with that disability. Some arguments on the identity first side are that you don't have to say a person with whatever, because we shouldn't have to remind you that we're people. Clearly, we're people. We shouldn't be shameful of what we have, what we're dealing with. Clearly, it clarifies this is what I'm dealing with. This is who I am. Like I said, is an integral part. You can't really be separated. There's a lot of images that have come out as well that people have made to kind of show how there's a difference between, I'll use autism, for example, a person with autism versus a person who's autistic. And now you can see it's not really like a bag that you're carrying around that you have. It's just who you are. Um, and of course, yeah, there's a lot of, pride and acceptance that comes with using identity first language. And it just helps clear the air right off the bat. This is who I am. It's part of me. Deal with it. Person first language is used in the sense of people wanting to emphasize the person and who they are first. So she has Down syndrome, or they have, I don't know, Tourette syndrome. Shows that you're showing the person first. And the reason people might use that language instead, use person first language, is to show respect and dignity for the person, to show that they acknowledge who they are, because oftentimes in the past, people were described not in a respectful manner or in a respectful way. So they said, okay, we're going to put the person in front because it might help with separating and trying to avoid some of that bias that may come with it. Most of the time when people try to use person first languages to be more respectful compared to things that people used to say in the past. So that's why somebody would use person first language. Another reason somebody might use person first language is because maybe to them, their disability is not their complete identity. Maybe they, you know, got into an accident and became paralyzed later, so they don't want to consider themselves handicapped like they would person for, or identity first language, or they don't want to consider themselves quadriplegic. They might just want to say, I had a traumatic brain injury, or I have whatever it may be, because to them they can see a life before and after their disability, or before and after whatever happened. So that's another reason somebody might want to use person first languages, because they feel like they can kind of separate themselves from the disability. There is kind of a before and an after. And then a lot of the arguments on the person first language come from, like I said before, in the past, people used to use awful words. I won't really say them, but here are some examples to describe us, and we're not dealing with that. You need to see the person for who they are and not look at them as, a certain bias or stigma. And, be respectful of who the person is or who I am. And also, like I said, some people maybe did not have this disability all their life, so they can kind of separate themselves from it, and they kind of see a before and after, or see it just as an add-on to who they are and not their entire identity. Like I like the color green, I love Chinese food, and I have Tourette syndrome. And you can kind of see that as something somebody might just have as an add-on to who they are. Or I happen to use a wheelchair versus I'm wheelchair bound. Some of those words that technically would be identity first kind of have a negative stigma with it, like bound or suffers and different things like that. But also there are some negative words like she suffers from, whatever. There's some negative ways you can portray it on both sides. Like I said, I don't mind using either one. If you're meeting somebody who has a disability, you can ask how they preferred to be referred to and then follow as such. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like and comment. I love to see when you guys interact with my video. I love to see your input and what you have to say and what you got out of it. And please share with somebody to help make the world just a little bit brighter. Thanks, guys. Shine bright.